The Educas WJEC specification asks us to consider Aquinas' definition of internal and external acts and of real and apparent goods. It is also useful within this section to consider the role of the law of double effect, especially as this becomes important when we move forward to study proportionalism. Aquinas understands moral behaviour to consist of both internal and external acts. An internal act is what we would call an intention. This means that it is important to weigh up the intention that a moral agent has as well as the action itself if we are to assess the goodness or badness of the action as a whole. The external act is the action itself, the event or behaviour that we can see. Therefore, whilst we can know using reason that to kill a person is an inherently bad or evil action, it is also important to know what the intention of the moral agent was when they did or did not kill. For example, Aquinas speaks of the act of killing in self-defense. If a moral agent were to kill another person, this would be a bad or evil act. Of this we can agree regardless of who does the killing or who it is that is killed. However, let's imagine that the moral agent killed because they were defending themselves from attack. Maybe the agent pushes the attacker away, but in so doing the attacker is pushed down some steps and falls to their death. Alternatively, maybe the moral agent has a sword in their hands and is trying to parry the attacker's attempts to kill, and in so doing instead strikes and kills the attacker. In these instances, we might agree that killing itself is a bad thing, but the intent of the agent was never to kill. It was to preserve life, their own. So intention matters because the act of pushing or using the sword was to preserve life, and this they did, but they also killed. The agent is responsible for the action that they intended, not the one they did not. This is known as the law of double effect. There are two outcomes to the action of pushing the attacker away, so they are held responsible for the act that they intended. Aquinas also deals with the issue of immoral behaviour. He generally has a positive view of humankind as desiring to do the good and avoid the evil. He considers it to be the desire of all people to achieve the beatific vision, and when we act, we believe, rightly or wrongly, that we are doing good. The primary precepts are examples of real goods, or goods that are correctly reasoned, and help humans to achieve their final telos to do good and avoid evil. Secondary precepts aim towards the achievement of the primary, and so may be described as real goods if they are correctly reasoned through recta ratio and bring us closer to God. However, this does not explain why people appear to deliberately do evil. Why do people steal or kill if all they want is to do good and are capable of reasoning? Aquinas answers that sometimes we follow apparent goods. An apparent good is a wrongly reasoned good that leads people away from God or away from the telos for which they were created. What he means by this is that sometimes something can appear to be good when it is not. It is not good to kill, but there might be times or circumstances when that cannot be clearly seen by the moral agent. Maybe they have not reasoned correctly because they are blinded by the situation. Maybe they've not perfected the virtues of temperance or prudence, or have spent too much time looking at the consequences of their actions and have forgotten the action's inherent qualities. For example, to the doctor who is faced with a patient who is asking to be helped to die and who is terminally ill and in pain, it might appear that the good act is to help them according to their desires. That person's relatives may be echoing the request, and other avenues such as pain relief do not seem to be having the desired effect. In this instance, it would be easy for the doctor to believe that they were doing a good thing by helping their patient die. Yet this would be an apparent good. Killing is an inherently evil action, and the law of double effect does not excuse this person, because if they intend to kill their patient, even if it is with the desire to help them, then they are doing something evil. It would be an apparent good to kill someone deliberately because the doctor does not desire evil, but they are mistaken in thinking that the killing in this instance is good. To extend this example further, this doctor could reason that deliberately killing their patient is wrong, and so they could do the real good by refusing to kill them. This means that they would have a responsibility to their patient to try and keep them comfortable and relieve their pain as much as possible. Here, if the only way to achieve this goal is by giving a lethal dose of painkillers, the doctor may be excused on the grounds of double effect. What this means is that if the doctor intends to relieve pain, and the only way they can do this is by administering a dose of painkiller that would kill the person, but in any lower dose would leave the patient alive and in pain, the doctor could do this, and provided their intent was to relieve pain, they would be judged as morally good. This is the case even if they foresaw that their actions would lead to the patient's death. However, such an action should be in proportion to the circumstance, since administering such pain relief to a person with a grazed knee would be far from temperate, even if it was with the intention to relieve pain. Moral dilemmas are rarely straightforward. They are extremely complex, and natural law attempts to deal with the complexity of dilemmas by dealing with all the different elements that go together to make a moral decision: intention, action, personality, and exceptional circumstances. The Roman Catholic Church has adopted this method of moral decision-making as the official position of the Church, and the magisterium, or church authority, interpret Aquinas in a very specific way as deontological, absolutist, and fundamentally the moral law of God. Therefore, their teaching on issues such as abortion, euthanasia, and sexual expression are rooted in this understanding of morality. To take a relativist position would be to mistakenly choose apparent goods, since relativism or consequentialism do not recognize the intrinsic good or evil involved in moral actions, and are prepared to allow evil to be done so that there can be a good outcome. However, Aquinas did not ignore the other elements of moral action completely, and was prepared to allow that a good intention was required for an action to be good, and is even vital in situations where actions seem to have both a good and evil result.